Pawn Stars chronicles the daily activities at the 24-hour gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, the best place for a pawn shop. The show premiered in 2009 and features a constant stream of customers attempting to hock their worldly possessions. And Pawn Stars immediately became the highest rated show on the History Channel. And over the years, it's become one of the most successful reality shows in TV history. What's happening? I'm your host, the Notorious Nick, and today we're checking out the Pawn Stars cast, and we brought in our own team of appraisers to see what the cast members are up to and determine their current market value. Because after all, we are running a business here, not a charity. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so we can notify you when we drop new content. Now it's time to bring in your valuables, spread them out on our counter, and let us tell you. Rick.
What does that even mean?
Rick Harrison dropped out of school in 10th grade because he was making too much money selling fake Gucci handbags. He always lived to make a profit, and his father nicknamed him the Spotter because of his sharp eye for a great deal. He's a shrewd negotiator, and he almost never makes the first offer. In fact, he responds to most sellers' asking prices with laughter and wisecracks.
No. No way.
Cause that's Rick. Corey.
I could think of way better ways to spend 70 grand.
Corey Big Hoss Harrison runs the shop's day-to-day operations, and Big Hoss hopes to one day be Big Boss. In 2009, he chased an unruly customer out of the shop with a pistol, and the incident was posted on YouTube, which helped it go viral and even got HBO's attention. Chumley. Austin Russell is one of Corey's closest friends, and he ostensibly works at the shop, testing items and writing the tickets. At the age of 12, the father of one of his friends told him he reminded him of Chumley, a walrus sidekick on the animated children's show Tennessee Tuxedo, and the nickname stuck.
Are you mad because you don't have a cartoon of yourself?
Chum is mocked for being incompetent and lazy in every episode, with Old Man saying, quote, "Most of the time,
Chumley's a couple fries short of a Happy Meal."
And Chum is also the eternal guinea pig when they want to test anything dangerous. He wasn't originally supposed to be one of the show's main characters, but the producers loved him and insisted that he did appear in each episode. The Old Man. The Old Man often played the straight man to Corey and Chum's shenanigans.
$1,900 for a pair of damn tennis shoes? That sounds like to me, Chumley.
He only moved when he damn well felt like it, and was frequently seen at his desk, resting his eyes. But when Rick asked his father to check out a rare item, the Old Man lit up like a child on Christmas morning. He was always the first to show up at the shop each day, and the last time he took a sick day was in 1994. Hell no, HBO. HBO was interested in developing a gritty show focused on activities at the shop's night window. They considered it a logical follow-up to their highly successful Taxicab Confessions documentary series. But Rick didn't like the pilot. In his autobiography, he said that the customers were treated like animals in a zoo, and that it was misleading about the way he does business. Throw in the fact that the producers and the cast did not hit it off right away, when producers said that they didn't really have a show, and complained that everyone was making the same bad jokes and that they smoked way too much. Financial disasters. No one wants to believe that their grandpa got swindled, but Rick is often forced to be the bearer of bad news. He often says that one of the hardest parts of his job is informing people that their family heirlooms are fakes. He further explains that old doesn't necessarily mean real, and rare doesn't mean valuable. Rick often brings in experts to appraise rare items, and the sellers are surprised when they hear how much they can fetch at auctions. They're also just as surprised to hear Rick's low offer. He must remind them that he does take a risk on everything he buys, and an item is only worth what someone else will pay. Sometimes Rick and his experts do get it wrong. Rick's been ripped off buying bogus collectibles, including a shoeless Joe Jackson autograph.
Period.
Wow.
This is absolutely incredible.
When you talked about old baseball players, you would have talked about Lou Gehrig, Joe Jackson, and Babe Ruth.
And a Willie Mays baseball jersey. Not to mention, he's taken many items to auction that did not sell for a profit. I love watching Rick get excited about valuable items, as he tries not to get emotional when it's time to make an offer. And sometimes he regrets being a disciplined buyer, like the time he couldn't make a deal for Jimi Hendrix's guitar. The 1963 Fender Stratocaster was estimated to be worth over $1 million, but Rick wasn't prepared to meet the seller's asking price of $750,000. He raised his offer to $600,000, but it still wasn't enough, and the seller walked right out the door. Rick's chance to own an authentic piece of rock and roll history officially went up in a purple haze. Not so big anymore. Big Hoss definitely earned his nickname when the show began, tipping the scale at over 400 pounds. But after learning he was pre-diabetic, he made some life changes. After obesity surgery, Corey lost close to 200 pounds.
50 pounds in almost 6 weeks, I mean, it feels like someone took a backpack full of rocks off you.
Really?
So then you can actually start going to the gym and you start, feeling more comfortable with exercise.
And he even inspired his old pal Chumley to drop almost 100 pounds himself. Hoss joked that they thought they were gonna be fat guys together forever, but he was proud to see his buddy also making better decisions. Corey almost left the family business during season 6, but the elder Harrisons opened the books and gave him a bigger stake in the business. Is Chumley actually dumb? Chumley's mistakes are usually expensive and always entertaining. But is it all just shtick for the show? Chum often surprises the other cast members with his ability to fix old toys. And I remember the one episode he had the street smarts to spot the pair of fake Air Jordans.
This isn't the shoe that came out in 1990. This shoe was actually released in 2009, 19 years later.
Chum formed his own company to sell novelty items, and Rick bought half the company in 2010. Chumley also set up his own candy shop across the street from the pawn shop. And he also makes big bucks for personal appearances.
I'm gonna be right there on that side of the register, so after you purchase something, you can stop right there and take a picture, sign an autograph, whatever.
Chum says he's a lot smarter than people give him credit for. And honestly, I think he's right. No one here is suggesting that Chum take a job as a brain surgeon, but it is possible that his on-screen village idiot persona is just as fake as one of Rick's Gucci purses. Meet the Pawn Stars. On the show, it looks like you can just walk into the shop and get an offer on your great-grandmother's spatula. But don't count on negotiating with Rick unless you're there on a shooting day and you have a very unusual item. The show isn't scripted, but segments are scheduled in advance, so both the seller and expert can be present. The other customers in the shop are actually extras, instructed to browse and circulate around the background. And a tip: if you're there to do business at the pawn shop, be sure not to use the tourist entrance. Does Rick want to fire Chumley? Chumley fails to follow instructions, he lollygags, breaks things, and once even accidentally had Bob Dylan personalize an autograph.
What in the hell are you doing? And what is that?
His mistakes often cost the shop a small fortune, and Rick and the old man never hesitate to chew him out. But does Rick really want to fire Chumley? Or is the tough love just part of the show? Chum was never given much responsibility before the show, but the producers wanted him behind the counter after he became a fan favorite. In 2016, police serving a warrant in a sexual assault case found several weapons, a gallon plastic bag of pot, and other drugs including anxiety meds and meth. So Chum was never charged with the sexual assault, but was charged with multiple felonies. He pled guilty in exchange for 3 years probation, which ended in 2019. Chumley has done a lot of things on camera that would get most people canned, but for better or worse, Rick appears to be stuck with Chum. They're business partners who make a lot of money together, and Rick has enough experience now to know that every show's hero needs a foil. After all, Hulkamania wouldn't have existed without the Iron Sheik. A legend passes. In 1958, a young Richard Harrison was arrested for stealing a car and enlisted in the Navy as an alternative to prison. The old man served for 20 years and retired as a petty officer first class. An old law passed in 1955 required the Las Vegas population to reach a certain size before new pawn licenses could be issued. Richard began calling the city statistician every week so he and Rick could apply for a license as soon as the city's population reached 250K. Las Vegas got big enough in 1989, and the Harrisons obtained their pawn license after lengthy legal struggles. By 2005, the shop was loaning out over $3 million annually. In 2012, Richard Harrison Day was proclaimed in his hometown of Lexington, North Carolina, and he was presented with a key to his city. Sadly, after a bout with Parkinson's, Richard Harrison passed away in June of 2018. Rick announced the news on Instagram and said the old man was surrounded by those he loved. The show must go on. The show's producers remarked that fame never seemed to go to the cast members' heads, and they still showed up to work each day. Sure, they might ham it up for the camera, but they love what they do, and viewers love to watch them work. Before the show, the shop averaged under 100 customers per day, but by 2010, the shop's daily traffic increased to over 1,000. The Harrisons had to expand their showroom to 15,000 square feet and hire 30 additional employees. Rick has been forthcoming about his frustrations with the show and pulled away from his business for a while after the death of his father, but he knew that the old man would have wanted him to get back to work. And season 16 of Pawn Stars premiered in 2019 in a new hour-long format. Not many shows get into the double digits of seasons, and a lot of the credit goes to just how real these people are. So let's discuss. What's your favorite episode of Pawn Stars? Have you ever seen someone try to sell something that you have in your own collection? Were you ever on the show? Please let us know. We want to hear from you. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more, so we can always tell you what happened.